And welcome to Washington Commanders Insider, as it is game day for the Washington Commanders as they get ready to take on the New Orleans Saints. We're going to be looking at some of the keys to this football game. And so let's start with point number one, which is the headline, which is an article that you can find here on ESPN.com. But it's a homecoming for Jaden Daniels and Marshawn Lattimore. So what that means here is that, look, the Washington Commanders are coming in off a great win against the Tennessee Titans. And obviously, this is going to be an emotional game now because you have Jaden Daniels, who went to LSU. He talks about having gone to some of the Saints games, and he talks about just how loud this stadium is going to be for the Washington Commanders today. And so that is definitely a great point. The Washington Commanders are going to have to come in and lock in, and they're going to have to manage their emotions. And so Jaden Daniels, it's a bit of a homecoming for him, and especially with Marshawn Lattimore. Look, he is super excited to get out there and go against his former team. He talked about that earlier in the week, just how excited he is going to be back to just prove that they shouldn't have traded him. And that's something that is very natural, for players that get traded and they come back and play that former team. And so, I think for both of these players, they're going to have to lock in. They're going to have to focus, going to have to, really focus through all the yapping and things that are going to be said, whether it's from the crowd or from players on the field. And so that's number one. The Washington Commanders really need to focus on this game. All right. Next, with focusing on this game, the Saints are actually coming in having won 3 of their last 4 games. And so I said it before earlier this week that the Saints, look, they get paid too, and they're just 2 games back from the Bucs. I know that, it's not looking necessarily as great because Derek Carr did go down to the injury, but the Saints are still playing very much for something. And so the Washington Commanders cannot overlook this Saints team, even though they're depleted with injuries and things like that. You cannot overlook this team. So the Commanders are going to have to jump out on the Saints early. And that means that when you flip the field, then that means you score points. And also, too, you do not give this team hope. Do not give them momentum in this game. You do not want to have them close as the game gets to the end of the game, because that is how you can get beaten. So hopefully the Commanders jump on top of the Saints early, seize the momentum, and really go from there today. And so next, that leads me to the offense for the Commanders. And so, look, going into this game, I've said this before, and this is something that is out there, that if the Commanders really take care of business and they control the time of possession, this usually bodes well for the Commanders. In fact, this is something that I got off of Locked On Commanders, which is a great show. Make sure you like and subscribe to them. But he talks about the fact that if the Commanders are able to go out and they were able to really establish themselves and control the clock, they generally win those games. The games where they are not on top of the time of possession are games in which the Commanders lose. So today, the Commanders have got to make sure that they get the football into Brian Robinson Jr.'s hands, and also to Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr. All of those players must touch the football, especially since you don't have Austin Eckler. I would expect to see some more of Jaden Daniels be a little bit more dynamic as a runner as well. It looks like the last game that we saw, he is past the rib injuries. And so hopefully we get a chance to see some more of him out there as a runner. And I think that that is going to help the Washington Commanders really establish tempo. It's going to help them, on third downs, because right now we know that the Washington Commanders are a very good team when it comes down to third down conversions. In fact, they are 6th in the NFL. And I think part of the reason that they have a high conversion rate is because they run the football so well on the first and second down. So then to get the third down, it's much easier. And so today, that's something that the Washington Commanders must do. And so next up, the passing game. And so, look, the passing game for the Washington Commanders, this is going to be interesting today because we know that Noah Brown is more than like he's out for the season. And so now it's who's going to step up. And so we know what Terry McLaurin can do, but somebody else has got to step up because, there's you can't have defenses now being able to play pretty much Terry McLaurin and take him away and then you don't have another option. And so that suggests to me that players like Zach Ertz, I think that he has a real chance to step up in today's game. In fact, Zach Ertz, he's coming into this, he's averaging about 4 yards per catch, which is good. And he's got 4 touchdowns. And I think that he's had a pretty good rapport with Jaden Daniels. And I think that coming in to this season, I thought that he was a very good value signing for this team. I think that he can be really a security blanket for Jaden Daniels, when he's looking to, get outside the pocket and then get a good pass over the middle of the field. I think that Zach Ertz can cover that for him today. So hopefully he's able to step up. And then also, too, this is not counting out a player like Zacchaeus who could step up. You have De'Ami Brown. He has the opportunity to step up. He talked about how excited that he is to really be playing meaningful football. So, both of those players have a chance to step up. And who knows, we could see some more of Luke McCaffrey as well. I loved his draft tape. I want to see him some more. And so hopefully we get a chance to see somebody step up, because we need that as we push closer to the playoffs. And so next up, I think the last thing here is that defensively, this team is going to have to take away the run. Really going to have to emphasize that, because today, the Saints are likely going to be starting Jake Hayner today, so he's going to be the starter. He did split with Spencer Rattler, so we might see him out there today. So wouldn't be surprised if you see a split package out there. You might even see Spencer Rattler take over as well. And so, look, that suggests to me that if Spencer Rattler plays, he's a little bit more of a dynamic quarterback. He's going to be looking to get outside the pocket. We know that our defense struggles against the run. I've said this a couple times that, we're 31st as far as yards per carry. And so we have to make sure that we stop these ball carriers. And one of the things that has not been really talked about is the fact that Alvin, Kamara, he has a chance. He just needs 62 more yards, and he will reach 1,000 yards for the season. That's something that hasn't really been talked about, and it's kind of unbelievable, just as good as he's been. But look, I can imagine that he's going to come out. He's going to try to run the football extra hard. He is really the playmaker that they have on the field today, besides Scantling, excuse me. So, look, the Washington Commanders are going to have to make sure that they take away the run game, turn this team into a one-dimensional team, talking about the Saints, and that is going to really help us win today. I've talked about just how well Dante Fowler Jr. is doing. He's leading us with 8.5 sacks. I talked about Frankie Louvu. I think that he's behind him with 8 sacks. And I think that this is a Bobby Wagner game as well. And so I think that Bobby Wagner has a chance to really be an impact and get some sacks today. But I am so excited to see Marshawn Lattimore out there make his debut. I think that this is going to be huge, especially for the playoff push, because right now, as this stands going into this game, look, the Commanders have a chance still at the 6th seed because of the loss from Green Bay. But we're also being chased currently by the Rams, who really put themselves in a good position after beating the San Francisco 49ers on Thursday. So, look, the Washington Commanders need to take care of business. They control their fate, and it's all about finishing strong and getting healthy and getting ready for the playoffs. So, anyway, I'll see you guys on the post game. This is Washington Commanders Insider, and go Commanders. Let's get that W today. All right. Peace.